Hello everyone, I hope you are having a great day and you enjoyed today's video. First, I want to start off with saying thank you so much to all of my new subscribers, my current subscribers, all the views, and specifically the comments. I enjoy all the comments that I'm getting. Please keep giving me more. I love helping as much as I can. Okay, so what this video is going to be about is it's basically a Q&A. So the purpose of this video is because I have gotten a few questions on my channel, and what I really wanted to do was, even though I've answered most of those questions, I wanted to make a video so that I can put out there the questions that I have received, because other people might have these same exact questions. So what we're going to start with is I have 4 questions that I'm going to go through. I'm going to try to make this video as quick as possible because I don't want to drag it out and have a long video. Okay, so our first question, which I will put on the screen for you guys, is from, if I mess up your name, I am very, very sorry. So we have a question from Sienna Gloucester. I hope I said that right. They said, hey, can you make a video about the process of playing overseas and what to expect and how to try out, if that makes sense? When we're talking about the process of playing overseas, things you have are, you have to have film, you have to work out, you have to find representation. That can be yourself, it could be an agent, it could be a coach. If you want to know more about how to get an agent and all that stuff, I have a video called tips for starting your basketball career. I will put the link to that video in the description in case you don't know where it is. But that video basically covers most of what you want to know about starting your career overseas. Now, when it comes to the team and practice is all based on your coach. Your coach decides what kind of practice, well, the team, like the coaches and maybe even the manager or president decide what kind of practice schedule you'll have. So I'm gonna put a picture of one of my practice schedules, so I'll put it on the side. That was one of our old schedules. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so for this schedule, this was October 7th. I believe this is actually the first game I played in. No. I'm not, sorry, don't quote me on that. I don't know. So we have, it's in French, so sorry. On Monday we had practice, we had morning off because we probably had a game the weekend before. We had practice from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Tuesday we had this is the weight room, so we were in the weight room from 10 to 11. Then we had to shoot, and we had shooting from 11 to 12. Then later on that night we had practice from 7 to 8, and that practice was specifically about defense. Next we have Wednesday, same thing, weights from 10 to 11, shooting from 11 to 12, practice from 7:30 to 9, and that one is offense, so you're probably playing a lot of 5-on-5, 3-on-3, stuff like that. Next we have Thursday. We again, well, this time we're not in the weight room, we are actually in the gym, and we're just doing a little workout from 11 to 12. Later on that night we have team practice, which is from 7 to 8. And if you can see in the small portion, we also have video and scouting. So we start off with video, we go through the video, we go through our scouting report and what we're going to do for that team. Then we practice after. Sorry. Sorry, the popping is fireworks because it's Memorial Day weekend, so everyone wants to do a lot of fireworks and stuff like that. So you're going to hear it all over the place today in this video, so I apologize. Next we have Friday. We leave for our game. So this is Ferdinand. This was a far game, so we left the day before. Saturday we played, Sunday off, and the next week will look very similar to this. So that's what our practice schedule is going to look like. That's what I had. Now every team is different, so you might have a different practice schedule. So you can end up playing once every weekend, or you can play twice a week. It depends on your league, and it varies honestly. So some leagues they'll have it where you only play on weekends. Other leagues you have twice a week that you play games. It really just depends. Now, trying out. Okay, so you can try out for a team in a few different ways. Basically, you have a short contract or you don't have a contract. Preferably a short contract is better, because if you don't have a contract, it's a little bit, I mean, you're just like out there in the open basically. So it's not secure. But when you have a short contract, it's for like a couple months to a couple weeks. The team will have you practice and play with them, and at the end of that contract, they'll let you know if they want to renew you for the entire season, or if, thank you very much, good luck in the future, stuff like that, you know. So that is the end of that question. Thank you so much for your question, and let's move on to the next one. We have a question from, so our next question is from Catalina Granelli. I hope I said that right. I think I did. So the question is, I'm going to start high school in a few months and I want to be an overseas player. Are there any tips to get attention or to stand out in a game for colleges? First of all, fantastic that you're not even in high school yet and you're already thinking about playing overseas. That is great. Now, for standing out to coaches when you get to high school, I am not a coach, so I had to ask one of my previous coaches, and this is what she told me. The best advice to give is to play with someone that provides you exposure on a national platform and is well respected, so when they advocate for you to college coaches, you know the coaches value their opinion. That is regards to your coach. So whoever you're playing for, you want to make sure that they have connections for colleges, to colleges. So if it's an overseas team, not an overseas, I apologize. If it is a AAU team or a travel ball team, or your high school team, whoever the coach is or whoever is higher up in that organization, you want to know that they have connections to colleges, because they are the ones that are going to help you get there. Also, your talent. That's really important, but it's also, you know, almost everything in life is like a who you know type of thing. So if you know the right people, they can help you get to the right people. And of course, your talent will take you further. And she also said, players who can create for themselves and others always stand out. Players with high motors and players who are coachable. Now she put in capital letters, coachable. Coachability is so important. Yes, you could be a great player, but if you are that player that can't be told, hey, you did this incorrectly, let's try and do it this way, or hey, I'd like you to do this, and if you're the type that's like, I'm not gonna do that, or who do you think I'm good, like I know what I'm doing, no one likes that. You need to be that player where you are a great player, but you also know that when someone gives you some sort of constructive criticism or they give you advice, you can take that and you can use it to make yourself an even better player. That is so important. High motors, if you're running up and down that court, if you're giving it all on offense, giving it all on defense, coaches love that. They love it, they eat it up, because they see you working hard, and when you're that player that works hard, you motivate others to work hard, can create for themselves. Now, I don't know if this is everyone, but when you hear can create for themselves, you might think, oh, a point guard. It doesn't have to be just a point guard or a shooting guard or a power forward or anything. It's everyone. If you're a point guard, you're the person that you can shoot, you can drive, and you can pass. If you're a shooting guard, then you better be a good shooter, and you should also be able to pass. If you are a center, you need to be able to rebound. You have to be able to, you should also be able to give good passes, because if you're a good post player and you get the ball inside, you look for a move and they double team you, you should be able to see that person that's open, pass to them for an open shot. So everyone on the team can create, and it's creating for others and for yourself. So you should be able to score on your own, but you also know that if, oh, I can't score, then you should be able to make a good pass to someone else. That's actually everything for that question, and I hope that I answered it fully. If at all anyone has any questions or comments or anything, please put it in the comments below and I will get to you as soon as I can. We're gonna go to our next question. So this is from Nina Novacell. I hope I said your last name correctly. If I didn't, I apologize. So the question says, what type of things do you do at practice? How long does practice usually last? And I was wondering what the salary typically looks like. I know it's a personal question, so it's fine if you don't want to share. Okay, Nina. So we're gonna talk about practice. Earlier I talked about the practice schedule, so you know how practice will look. Of course, it always depends on your team. And how long are practices? Our practices ranged from the morning practices were about an hour and the night practices were 2 hours, 2 to 2.5 hours. So my biggest days were Tuesday and Wednesday, and that's where I had an hour in the weight room, an hour shooting, and 2.5 hours or 2 hours at night practice. Now that could be your schedule every day, or it could be like me where it's your schedule twice a week. Who knows? But everything depends on the team, and the best way to find out what your practice schedule will be is to ask the coach. Next, salary. Salary is all important. So when we're talking about salary, it all depends on your skill level, the team you're playing for, and your credentials. If you are like me, I didn't go to the WNBA. I wasn't, what is it called? I wasn't drafted. I didn't play summer league. I didn't do any of that. As soon as I graduated college, I did like this little thing in China, and then I started playing overseas. Now, my first salary, I believe it was $1,300, and that was $1,300 a month in the foreign currency. I also had a car, and I had 2 meals every day, so I would have lunch and dinner. So that was, oh, also I had 2 round-trip flights, so they paid for my flight to get there, might pay for my flight for me to go home for Christmas, come back after Christmas, and to go home at the end of the season. So if I remember correctly, that is everything that I got in my first year. That was my package there. I have friends that played in the WNBA. She didn't get drafted, but she played, and her first salary was $2,500. So honestly, depending on what school you went to and then what happens after you graduate, that can really determine how much money you get. Also, it also depends on your agent. If you have an agent, if they're really good at negotiating and if they present you very well, they can get you a very good contract. I hope I answered that fully for you. Again, any more questions, please put it down in the comments. So we have another question from Mia Lachey, and they said, I am going to be a junior at my college. I am looking to play overseas after I finish school. How do you get noticed by overseas coaches? When it comes to overseas, it's kind of very different than when you're going from high school to college. When you're overseas, the person that gets you noticed by coaches would be your agent, and because they're the ones that put your film together, they get everything like ready for you and they present you to that team. Now, when we're talking about like what type of player a team needs, when you're an import player and you're going to play overseas, the main thing that they want is someone that's going to score and help them win. That's what they care about. That's what they care about. If you're scoring and you're helping them win, that's great. If you're not helping them win, they probably don't care too much. And that's the reality of it, because they're paying you to do a job, and your job is to score and to make sure that team wins. That doesn't mean being a ball hog. You still gotta pass and get your assists up, get your rebounds up, but all around you need to score and you need to do whatever you can to help that team win. If your film shows that you're a scorer, like you can score on your own at will, if it shows that you can also rebound and you can do other things like assists and stuff like that, that's great, because it shows like you're an all-around player, you can get the job done and you can do other things as well. So that can help you stand out to coaches. The standing out for overseas coaches would be the same as standing out for college coaches. You want to make sure that you can make on your own, you can help others and make others better, and you are coachable, because not every coach is fantastic. Some of them aren't good coaches, but still you want to be that player where if someone gives you some sort of criticism, then you're there for it, you hear it, and you move forward, you know, and you improve. I hope that answers that question. Let me look at it again to make sure. Oh, also tips for starting your career over the video I talked about before, but the tips for starting your career overseas, that should also help, because when it comes to being seen by overseas coaches, it's really about your film. That's what's most important. So you want to make sure that you have good film, because that's what they're seeing, and your stats. They see your film, they see your stats. That's all they can see. If they want to watch a full game, they can, but most likely they're watching your highlights. Oh, I think that's everything. Oh, yes! Okay, this is kind of a long video, so I'm sorry, but I got to most of the questions that I wanted to get through. There are a couple more questions that I've had, and I want to make separate videos for those. So I know I'm going to do a video about the visa application process. I'm going to do a video about being overseas and how you deal with it emotionally and with your family and all that stuff, being away from them. Both of those are two big things on their own, so I want to have an entire video just to really focus on those things. Thank you so much for watching my video. Happy Memorial Day weekend. It's not Memorial Day today, but it is Memorial Day weekend. I hope you are staying safe. Of course, wash your hands, cover your face when you're out and about, cough in your elbow and all that great stuff. I'm gonna get going. Thank you so much for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Bye.